All right, the 49ers make a move. So I got out of the pool here at the gym and we're ready to talk about it. San Francisco is planning to either release or trade, if they're lucky, defensive tackle Maliek Collins. This is not surprising, but it's part of the reconstruction of the 49ers defensive line that might include an addition of Joey Bosa. But that defensive tackle position needs some work for San Francisco. They're down to only Evan Anderson, Kalia Davis, and Jordan Elliott now after Maliek Collins, who was actually a good pass rusher after the 49ers acquired him from the Texans, is going to be out the door. They picked him up for a 7th-round pick last year. 7th-round pick to replace Eric Armstead. So just think about the financial dynamics here. Eric Armstead had been due $18 million for 2024. The 49ers said, no, we're not going to pay you $18 million. How about $6? Eric Armstead said, no, I'll go to Jacksonville for 14. So San Francisco traded with Houston, 7th-round pick from Malik Collins, who had 2 years left on his deal, for about $10 million a season. The first season went okay, 5 sacks, number 7 in pass rush win rate for defensive tackles. So he was a good pass rusher. But the goal for the 49ers is to find multifaceted defensive tackles who you don't have to pick either run defense or pass defense. They can do both of them, because this team finished number 29 against the run. They've got to get better against the run. So they looked at his contract and they said, $10 million for another year of this. He's about to turn 30. We'll pass. And now they're going to find out if that number 7 pass rush win rate can sell on the trade market. Maybe they can recoup a 7th-round pick, which would in fact make Maliek Collins not cost any draft capital, because what they spent, the 7th-rounder, they could get back. But in all likelihood, I think the 49ers will have to release him. And if and when that happens, they will have saved $10 million. It's about 1.2 in base salary. There was a very large option bonus of over $8 million that was going to be due to Maliek Collins at some point this March or April. So that was non-guaranteed. They move off of that, and a $500,000 workout bonus. But as I said, the defensive tackle room is barren now. Good news for the 49ers is that the draft class might be the strongest that we've ever seen at defensive tackle, at least here in the modern day. I mean, just look at some of the names that the 49ers can go through. Derek Harmon, the big defensive tackle out of Oregon. Obviously, Mason Graham, the Michigan defensive tackle. His teammate, Kenneth Grant. Deon Walker is the big guy out of Kentucky. I mean, the guy's huge. He's like 6'8". At the 49ers really want the measurables, the arm length. Deon Walker is a good player to look at. TJ Sanders, Tyleik Williams. All these guys have a chance to be taken by the 49ers. On top of that, DJ Jones, the former 49er, is going to be a free agent here in a couple days. And we've already heard of talk of reunions, right? DJ Reed in the defensive backfield, DJ Jones. The 49ers have already made a reunion with Robert Saleh, their defensive coordinator. The bottom line is they have to improve the run defense. It was horrific this past season. I'd venture to say it was horrific over the course of the past 2 seasons for San Francisco. They sunk from a top 2 run defense in 2022 to number 26 in 2024 under Steve Wilks, and number 29 last season under Nick Sorensen. And it wasn't just the defensive tackle, it wasn't just Maliek Collins. It was also the linebacker position, which was missing Dre Greenlaw for the vast majority of the season. Fred Warner had the broken foot. There was poor tackling at times coming down from safety. We saw Jair Brown benched toward the end of the season. So they've got to fix the whole unit. And a lot of it was schematic, and part of the fix has been moving on from Nick Sorensen to Robert Saleh to try to bring that back. But bang for buck is the theme of this 49ers offseason. And on defense, you're not getting bang for your buck if you can't stop the run. If you can't stop the run, you're not going to have any fun. So Maliek Collins, he graded out like 42.8 on the PFF scale out of 100 against the run. So he might have been a fine pass rusher, but at the $10 million that he was due, the 49ers just said that this is not worth it. We're going to move on. Let's see if they can get some of that trade capital in return. But this is why it wasn't surprising. Now, there's going to be a lot of people who don't understand dead money, trying to say that the 49ers lost money with this deal. They saved $10 million, period. And you can combine it with the savings of Javon Hargrave. That's another defensive tackle who the 49ers are moving on from with a post-June 1st designation. That's $40 million in savings. He was due $20 million each in the next 2 seasons. Maliek Collins, that's $10 million for this year, so that's $50 million in total savings. With Eric Armstead last year, you saved 18 million. So that's in 2 seasons, in a calendar year, 68 million saved with the defensive tackle position alone. They are obviously trimming fat, rearranging the deck chairs to be able to pay Brock Purdy. Look out for that. That's obviously the big financial expenditure for the 49ers. But at the same time, they also want to find greater cost efficiency along the defensive line. And right now with this move, we are talking specifically about defensive tackle. Jonathan Allen's a player that the 49ers have been interested in. They wanted to trade for Jonathan Allen when they were dealing Deebo Samuel to Washington. But $16.5 million that he had been owed on that expiring contract was something that the 49ers weren't interested in shouldering. They couldn't find a way to financially make it work. So they said, well, Washington will probably just trade Jonathan Allen, and the 49ers were correct. Or Washington will release Jonathan Allen, and the 49ers were correct. Washington did release Jonathan Allen. He's one of the players the 49ers can bring in to fortify this defensive tackle rotation. But it already started looking a lot different last year without Eric Armstead. Maliek Collins ends up being a 1-year rental. He was fine, but the 49ers are taking run defense a lot more seriously now. And obviously cost efficiency is at the top of their list. And they decided that Maliek Collins was not worth the $10 million in savings that he would prevent them from getting. So $68 million saved at the defensive tackle position alone over the course of the past 2 off seasons. Now we get to watch how the 49ers will rebuild it. On top of that, Jalen Moore is getting a lot of buzz. I know I'm switching sides to the other side of the ball, but I talked about Joey Bosa and Myles Garrett earlier. Joey Bosa and the 49ers closing in on an agreement, so we'll keep an eye on that. Myles Garrett obviously has closed in on his agreement with the Cleveland Browns, so that was a shocking turn. He's going to stay there. So defensive line taken care of. Go watch the live from earlier to finalize that discussion. But how about we talk a little bit about the offensive line to sign off here. Jalen Moore, 49ers swing tackle over the course of the past couple seasons, is just getting a ton of buzz right now, a ton of buzz around Jalen Moore. All the national reporters are talking about him. Obviously, his agency is probably feeding some people some hype on Jalen Moore, and he did a good job this past season. But if he could command like lower level starting tackle money, good for Jalen Moore. Drafted in 2021 out of Western Michigan by the 49ers, 5th round pick. So he's been making, a little over $1 million per year. If he could get lower level tackle money, we're talking, $10 million a year? Even less than that. I mean, Jalen Moore's in line for at least a 5X pay raise, maybe a 10X pay raise. Keep an eye on that here over the next few days as the 49ers aim to really retool this team with the most cost efficiency that we've seen so far. I think it's intriguing stuff. You can watch what I did yesterday from the University of the South when you're talking about how the 49ers are all tugging in the same direction at the top of the power structure. So Maliek Collins likely released. If the 49ers get lucky, they'll be able to trade him and recoup some draft capital. Here's your update from right outside the pool here in Franklin. Talk to you soon.